Israel is at war. We didn't want this war. It was forced upon us in the most brutal and savage way. But though Israel didn't start this war, Israel will finish it. Once the Jewish people were stateless. Once the Jewish people were defenseless. No longer. Hamas will understand that by attacking us, they've made a mistake of historic proportions. We will exact a price that will be remembered by them and Israel's other enemies for decades to come.
Prime Minister of Israel, Netanyahu, promises a response. Hamas and Iran will remember for decades to come. I am Ronaldo McKenzie, and welcome to another episode of the NeoLiberal Podcast. The title of this episode today is Iran's Covert Strategy. Billions unfrozen by US, then coordinated attack on Israel and secret meetings with China, Russia, and North Korea.
Our support for Israel has been focused squarely on this conflict, on this heinous, brutal attack, and on helping Israel be able to defend itself. We're going to continue to try to do that.
Yeah. Just clarify your answer here, yes.
You and the president have both compared Hamas to ISIS. What does that say about the U.S. approach to Hamas going forward?
Well, we have labeled Hamas a terrorist group for years, if not decades. And we have consistently supported Israel in its efforts to fight back against and undermine Hamas, and we will continue to do so. In the immediate term, what it means is working with Israel to ensure that they are able to go after that Hamas threat in Gaza effectively, relentlessly, and to the point where they feel that their security and their deterrence has been fully restored. Yeah.
Sullivan, can I just ask real quick? I'm sorry. Mr. Sullivan, are you concerned at all that those who are here in the U.S., terrorists who are here in the U.S., may be emboldened by what's happening now? And just to piggyback on what was asked earlier.
This is the NeoLiberal Podcast. There is breaking news. We're listening to the National Security Advisor takes questions after deadly Hamas attacks on Israel. Just so you know, Dante, you hear the security advisor saying that they are going to effectively and relentlessly support Israel to take down Hamas. Okay, effectively. And what does that take down mean? I don't know. I'm not sure. But you know, some time ago we did a podcast, and we also had an article in the neoliberal.com in the neoliberal journals talking about the Wagner Group. The Wagner Group is, of course, and people are trying to dissociate the Hamas from Iran. Okay, just as how, but you know about the Wagner Group? The Wagner Group is closely connected with Vladimir Putin and Russia. Yes? And Russia uses the Wagner Group to destabilize and as an intelligence arm and as a private militia. the Iranian government also has that kind of relationship with Hamas. Okay? So I'm not sure if the Iranian government now is trying to dissociate themselves or separate themselves from what has happened and now trying to scapegoat Hamas so that they cannot be held responsible. I hope that is not what I'm hearing from the National Security Advisor. That's what they're trying to do. Because Hamas supported by the Iranian government, okay? And I mean, this is the NeoLiberal Podcast. I'm Ronaldo McKenzie, and with me is Dante Nelson. We have a story that we are going to be reporting. It's in we actually published the article, Iran's covert strategy, billions unfrozen by US, then coordinated attack on Israel and secret meetings with Russia, China, and North Korea. We'll be right back after this.
The aircraft carrier is in the Eastern Mediterranean in order to deter any further.
Welcome back to the episode. There's lots happening for the Iran-Israel conflict. I believe that they are calling it Hamas. There's been several reports. They are kind of dubbing it Hamas. I just sent out a tweet just recently. I see that the US and mainstream media is trying to pivot towards Iran, transferring responsibility of this attack away from the Iranian government and putting it on Hamas only. But don't believe they can play footsie with the US or with us. Russia has their private military, and which is the Wagner Group. Iran has theirs, which is Hamas. There's very close connections, and I do not believe that the Biden government removed all responsibility and blame from the Iranian government. I think they're also holding them responsible. They have also put out statements in support of Israel. Iran has put out support for Israel. So far, we know that I think it was 9 this morning, but as at this point, we're hearing that it's 14 Americans 14 Americans were killed, and I think there are 9 hostages. So right now there is a hostage situation. Several Americans have been held hostage. Several Americans are among the dead. I think about 900 people have been reported have been killed as a result of the attack. That's what we know so far. Earlier, and we're going to give you some more background to this information because there is a debate as to whether or not this $6 billion has any connection with this war. There are those who believe that it is not, and the Biden government is sticking to their gun, saying that it has nothing to do with it. We are not sure, but what we know is that there's quite a bit of instability happening in the world today. We have in Eastern Europe, there is Russia-Ukraine war. We have China threatening to attack or to invade Taiwan. And now we have Hamas and Iran and the Middle East. We just recently heard of some kind of peace treaty, but we're not sure what's going on. But what we know is that there is an attack. I have an article that I'm going to share with you that delve into some of the issues and looking at the argument. We are a think tank. We explore connecting threads, and we will share them with you because I believe that there is something worth exploring here. This is the NeoLiberal Podcast. We will delve into the article that I wrote earlier. The name of the article, the title of the article, which is available in the NeoLiberal Post at ronaldocmckenzie.com, is Iran's Covert Strategy, Billions Unfrozen by the US, then coordinated attack on Israel and secret meetings with Russia, China, and North Korea. This is the NeoLiberal Podcast. The attack has already started. The onslaught, the siege has already started. They have already started to bombard parts of Iran, especially the regions where they believe that Hamas is. We're not sure what damage that's been done, what damage is being done to the area, but that much we know. But what the language was quite interesting, palpable and violent, seeming like a World War III. But anyways, the language was that it was quite callous. He said, "We will respond in the kind of firepower that you will never forget, that you will never forget, or that you will remember forever." I mean, I guess, is that the kind of talk that we need? I don't know, because I believe the Iranians feel as though they are justified. They are justified in their attack as well, because of histories of hurt and the legacy. Starting from 1947 up until now, a history. And so you question whether or not there's going to be any kind of stability in the region. They feel as though they have been justified. And it was just recently that I believe that Israel had bombed. There was a bomb that had bombed somewhere in Palestine not too long ago. I think they had passed it off as some kind of mistake or accident. I'm not sure here. And here it is that Iran is doing the same thing, trying to pass it off as, oh, it's Israel at the time was saying we don't have anything to do with it, but Iran is now saying that, oh, we don't have anything to do with it. It's Hamas, the scapegoat. But this is the article. This is the article that I want to share with you. It's entitled "Iran's Covert Strategy: Billions Unfrozen by U.S., Then Coordinated Attack on Israel, and Secret Meetings with Russia, China, and North Korea."
Israel is at war. We didn't want this war. It was forced upon us in the most brutal and savage way. But though Israel didn't start this war, Israel will finish it. Once the Jewish people were stateless. Once the Jewish people were defenseless. No longer. Hamas will understand that by attacking us, they've made a mistake of historic proportions. We will exact a price that will be remembered by them and Israel's other enemies for decades to come.
In a stunning turn of events, the United States recently returned billions of dollars in frozen assets to Iran, believing that the Middle Eastern nation was largely complying with peace and non-nuclear agreements. However, mere weeks after the return of these funds, Iran has resumed its controversial activities, raising serious concerns about the stability of the region and the world at large. It appears that Iran's intentions all along were to take advantage of this newfound financial freedom, as intelligence reports suggest that Hamas, in a clandestine meeting, secured support from unlikely allies Russia, China, and North Korea. This alliance has sent shockwaves throughout international diplomacy and threatens to reshape the geopolitical landscape. Under the leadership of former President Donald Trump, the world witnessed a period of relative calm in the Middle East, with fewer attacks and conflicts involving Iran and its proxies. However, the current administration under President Joe Biden now faces an escalating crisis as Iran, emboldened by its newfound resources, poses a growing threat. Some political observers speculate that certain US politicians, secretly hoping for a Trump return to power, may be viewing these escalating tensions as a way to bolster his leadership credentials. They argue that given President Biden's challenges and the deteriorating situation, Trump could be seen as the stronger leader in these troubled times. Disturbingly, Western intelligence agencies, including those of Egypt, Israel, the UK, and the US, were caught off guard by the recent escalation in the Middle East. This intelligence failure raises serious questions about the ability of these agencies to protect their respective nations in an increasingly volatile world. Adding to the complexity of the situation, Israel recently launched an unprovoked attack on another country in the region, offering only a minimal apology in response. This action has further inflamed tensions and left the international community uncertain about how to respond. As the world watches with bated breath, it remains to be seen how the global community will react to these escalating conflicts. Russia's involvement in an invasion, with the support of North Korea, China, and Iran, adds a dangerous dimension to an already precarious situation. The stakes are higher than ever, and the world's leaders must work together to defuse the mounting tensions in the Middle East and prevent further escalation that could lead to widespread conflict. The days ahead will undoubtedly be critical in determining the course of global stability and security. Note, in August 2023, President Joe Biden approved $6 billion of frozen Iranian money to be unfrozen and transferred to Tehran after several years of the US freezing the funds. However, POTUS 44, that's President Obama, had unfrozen some of the funds while he was president, but not all of it as part of as part of a deal to not proliferate any nuclear weapons. However, this recent deal in August was done as part of a prison swap for the funds. After the money was transferred to Iran, they had a secret meeting with our unlikely allies. Soon after, Iran pulled off a covert operation without the knowledge of any Western intelligence. Now, just so you know that on October 8th, on the October 8th edition of Fox News Sunday, John Feiner, the President Biden's Deputy National Security Advisor, rejected any implication that money that hasn't been spent yet could have had any role in the attacks that took place, in planning them, in equipping the parties that conducted them. And you can check an article written by Louis Jacobson and Samantha Putterman entitled "The U.S. Freed $6 billion in Iranian Money. Did it help fund Hamas attack on Israel?" in PolitiFact, October 9, 2023. And you can visit the RonaldoCMcKenzie.com for the article with the embedded reference. Now, but I must respond by saying, however, if our intelligence can't even know about such an attack on us via our allies in Israel, how can we trust that he knows what's happening internally in Iran? And if you know banking, once you have access to funds, you can use that as collateral. And we have an update, just so you know, because it seems as if the conflict has spilled over to other parts of the world as diaspora communities on both sides clash in Florida. Jews and Muslims clash in Florida. There's an article that is entitled "Palestine and Israel Supporters Clash in Tampa Bay, Florida." You can see the article in the NeoLiberal Post with the link. And there is there is a video that we will play shortly, where Israel responds with firepower and vow more retaliation within the weeks, one that they will never forget, and the conflict will never end as they play tit for tat. Who can outdo the other? This is the NeoLiberal Podcast. We'll be right back after this. Thank you for listening to another episode of the NeoLiberal Podcast. Please subscribe for free and donate to us by going to anchor.fm/theneoliberal/support. And please remember that the NeoLiberal Podcast is a production of the NeoLiberal Corporation. We're serving the world today to solve tomorrow's challenges by making popular what was the monopoly. Visit us at theneoliberal.com and RonaldoCMcKenzie.com.